Let's make some noise. Come on.
Yes, indeedy. Thank you, Nick Foles, once again, and welcome back, everybody, to the final word here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network with your boy MattyB on the call. Our Monday night edition is in the house. We are ready to go. Unfortunately, we just don't really have much to talk about, man. We are in a holding pattern over the International Airport of Philadelphia sports, and but we're going to press through because there are some topics to talk about, but they're getting old. They're getting old. They're getting stale. They're getting tiresome. They're getting burdensome. They're getting just tired. But we're going to address those topics again tonight. Primarily, your boy is in the news again. He's making the circuit now around the podcasting world. Bryce Harper, is he doing damage control or is he throwing kerosene on the fire? I don't know. But we're going to discuss not only Bryce Harper and this tiresome conversation. You know, we got done with Nick Castellanos, but, you know, we're going to move on now to Bryce Harper. And we're going to talk about the not elite. Is it something that he should be upset about? Was it rude of Dave Dombrowski to say it? Was it rude of Bryce Harper to yell, sign him, when he was running around the bases in 2020 as referring to JT Realmuto? We'll talk about all things feelings related if you want. That's what this show has been sort of de-evolved into, a feelings fest. Whose feelings got hurt? Who the hell cares? Right? Who cares? But that's what we want to talk. That's what the people want, and I'll give it to them. And as the title of tonight's show indicates, there's some endless possibilities as it pertains to the future of number 3 and the future of him in Philadelphia, because is this a short game? Or I should say, is this the long game? Is this the Bryce Harper I want out of Philadelphia long game? Has that begun? Are Bryce Harper's people advising him, saying, hey, your president made that comment about you. This could be the start of getting you out of here because they're not going to give you any more money. And we got to stop bitching for more money because we're not getting any. So can we use this as a possible way to begin to generate the friction and the smoke and then eventually the fire about getting you out of this town? And I think that's what's happening. I think that's what he's doing. I think he's being advised by his people because, you know, to think that he's just forgotten about wanting more money is totally senseless. I think he's taking the next route, and that's to say, okay, fine, I want out of here. But he can't do it like that because he's the world's greatest panderer. He's the showman, right? He has to put up the front that he's all about Philadelphia, right? So he's going to use this. And it's actually genius if that's what they're doing. And I am going to present a possibility here tonight, a realistic possibility for a potential trade partner of Bryce Harper. And it's not breaking news. I've talked about this team in the past. I brought this up back in the summer when I had come to the end of my Bryce Harper train. And I was like, why not explore this opportunity? So we're going to get into Bryce Harper. We're going to get into the Winter Olympics. We know an opponent for the men's hockey. They will battle Sweden tomorrow in the quarterfinals at around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I guess, around that time. As Team USA marches hopefully towards the gold medal matchup between Canada, and on the women's side of things, they will host Canada tomorrow or on Thursday. What's tomorrow? Yeah, Thursday. They'll play Canada on Thursday for the gold medal. So the first part of the U.S.-Canada showdown is set in women's hockey. Now we just got to deliver the second part. So that's all sort of kind of coming to fruition. What's going on, Joe? Sorry, man. Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Who cares? Who cares? Just a day. Bruce, how you doing? MattyB, I feel Bryce Harper is good, but not a superstar. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and try to talk you off that ledge there, Bruce. I'm not. And, obviously, I was just like everybody else was back in that 2019 timeframe, jumping up and down, slapping air high fives with nobody. When the Phillies signed him, he was the face of Major League Baseball, sort of the face of the free agent face at that time. Obviously, Mike Trout wasn't quite ready, and I'm glad they didn't go after Mike Trout. I'm glad he signed with the Angels, but he was the prize, the catch, the face of baseball at that time. That was a free agent. It was a great move, but largely, has it been productive for the Phillies? How many World Series have they won? How many times have they been to the World Series? I mean, has it really been what I mean, I think it's safe to say that it's been productive to the point where it made the Phillies some money, but has it been productive in the ultimate thing for fans, and that's world championships, and apparently for players too? But here's the thing, Bruce, superstar or no superstar, is the juice worth the squeeze anymore? And good versus, so he's being paid what, $330 million over the course of his contract, correct? Is this something the Phillies should continue to pay on? That's the bottom line. It's, yeah, okay, he's never going to be terrible. He's never going to be hitting below 200, a liability offensively or defensively, unless the injuries catch up with him. But he's never going to be a terrible player. He is, in some circles, a borderline Hall of Famer or a fringe potential Hall of Famer. So, yeah, but are the Phillies in a position, or is it prosperous or advantageous for the Phillies to continue to pay off on this contract moving forward if you have an opportunity to move off of him? And I think there's an opportunity coming. And again, I mentioned it on this program months ago, and I've mentioned it a couple times over the course of those months. Do the Phillies legitimately look at trying to trade him? And the second part of that, is this the beginning? Is this the short game? Or no, I'll say it again, the long game of Bryce Harper trying to get out of here? Did Dave Dombrowski on accident provide, or maybe not, maybe it was all coordinated, I don't know, but on accident, let's go on accident, provide him that, that sort of spark to ignite that fire to get him out of here? And is he going to take advantage of that? And we're going to definitely get deep into that conversation tonight. And, the bottom line, though, is, man, come on. I want sports, man. I don't want to talk about this stuff anymore. It's such a pain in the ass. Is Bryce Harper's feelings hurt? Is Nick Castellanos' feelings hurt? Is Rob Thompson a soft cream-ass manager? I'm going to be talking about Rob Thompson for the next 6 months and his terrible managing. I wanted to wait on that for a little while. I wanted to sort of ease my way into that. And we're already talking about potential issues in that clubhouse that we've all sort of had, inklings of, that he's a soft manager and that players are running over them and that there's different standards for different people. We're already talking about that, and we're in freaking February. I want action, man. Games, wins and losses, dramatic walk-off home runs. I want to talk about how much ABS has not been what you think it's going to be. I want to talk about how much you people, and I say you people, and I mean that with all the affection and love that only I can provide, are going to rue the day you wanted ABS. I want to talk about that stuff. I want to get into that. I want to talk about that first call that you're like, are you serious? That was a strike? Yeah, MF, it was a strike. Lower part of the zone. All right? It's a ball. It clipped the zone because it spins and it moves all around. Yeah. That's amazing, huh? Your little box at Fox Stat Track, whatever the hell that thing was called. Yeah, that wasn't right, was it? I want to talk about stuff like that. Right? I want to shove it up your asses about ABS, man. I do. I can't wait. But no. I'm stuck here talking about Bryce Harper's feelings. Lord, man. I don't care about his feelings. I'll trade places with him in a heartbeat. Give me his ability, his gifts, his money. I'll go in a heartbeat and I'll deal with the feelings issue. Man. Oh, Lordy, Lord. You got me going already. Got me going already. MattyB, do I feel the... Bruce, why the hell would the Orioles trade Alonso? They just signed him. And why would we go around? Listen, if the Phillies wanted Alonso, why did they just sign him instead of Schwarber? Come on, man. No. And I don't. And here's the thing. I don't want current players in any. If I was pulling the strings here on a Bryce Harper trade, I am going prospect heavy. I am going to gouge out somebody's minor league system. I don't want Pete Alonso. Not now. That ship has sailed. He is a Baltimore Oriole for good or for bad. I wanted him a month ago. I wanted him 2 months ago. I definitely wanted him to replace Schwarber, but the Phillies didn't want to do that. So now, yeah, hell with it. To hell with it. I'm moving on, man. Just like Boba shit. Moving on. So, no. And I don't think they would, and I don't think the Phillies would do it either. Joe says, I don't think Harper's going anywhere. Joe, now listen, before you plant your flag, I want to ask you this. It's 2026. Dave Dombrowski has said the rudest thing ever, apparently, is what some of these soft-ass people want you to believe. That he said the rudest thing ever. Can you imagine how Bryce Harper would react around a Billy Martin or a George Steinbrenner? Can you imagine that? Billy Martin would have today's MLB player crying in a corner. If what Dave Dombrowski said was the most rudest thing ever uttered by an MLB executive. But to think that Bryce Harper's not going to let that go, and he's not, because even though he says he doesn't, of course he's motivated by it. It's his rally cry now, right? But do you think that Bryce Harper, who has people in his ear, people he pays big money to market him, people he pays big money to ensure that he is getting top of the line treatment at all times. He's had those people, maybe not those same exact people, but he's had people like that in his life since he's been about 13, right? So do you not think they're advising him, Bryce, you want more money? And that hasn't gone away. Let's not be stupid about thinking that whole, I want an extension, I want more money, that conversation's dead. It's not. But they know feasibly, based on his performance, they can't approach it like that anymore. They need a side entrance, a back door, if you will. And Dave Dombrowski might have provided that back door. And that might be the start of his people generating a campaign to get him the hell out of here. I'm telling you. This is what ad people, marketing people, this is what they do for their clients, man. That's their job, is to take care of their people, get them the most money they can. Who cares about the other ramifications? They're not getting any more money from the Phillies. That's not happening. We know that. So the only other way is to get the hell out of town and perhaps work a new deal somewhere else. And I think Dombrowski provided him that way. And that's why I disagree vehemently with that statement. He most definitely at some point is going to work his way out of here. If they start to get stuck in neutral and they're not winning anymore, and they're coming in third place all of a sudden, they go from not being able to get out of the first round of the playoffs to not getting into the playoffs. Then they go from not getting into the playoffs from finishing in third. Then they go from not finishing third into finishing last. You honestly think Bryce Harper's going to endure all that for the love of God and city? Hell no. Bryce Harper's going to work his way out of here. I'm not saying that the Phillies not necessarily would want to get rid of him, which they probably would, because they're going to have to try to rebuild, and they're not going to want to go down the same road that Ruben Amaro went down by holding on to some of these guys a little too long, like he did in the last era. But don't you think Bryce Harper's going to start whining like a baby? He's got his feelings hurt by his president saying he's not elite. You honestly think he's going to endure losing here? No. Come on. Let's join reality. MattyB, I feel you were right that maybe Dumbo said that to try to make Bryce say he wants to leave, and maybe that we can trade him for a true superstar player. Again, Bruce, let's get away from this superstar nonsense. What has that done for us? What has that done? I don't want a superstar. I want to rebuild and restock and refortify. I want 5 players. I want to play Moneyball. I want to replace Bryce Harper with about 5 players that could match or exceed his number output. I don't want a superstar anymore. I don't want that nonsense anymore. It doesn't work. We got a whole team full of them, and it ain't done jack smack for us, man. Come on. Let's get out of this. Let's get out of the headspace of that for a second. Baseball championships are not necessarily born from the backs of superstars. It helps. And then you have elite, or you have generational elite. You have superstars. You have very good. You have good. Then you have the rest, right? Bryce Harper's not generational elite, and I think he was trending that way at one point early in his career, but somewhere along the line he veered off that highway onto the superstar highway. Right now, if you want to talk about elite generational, there's one player. There's 2 players currently that fit that bill that reside in Major League Baseball. One of them name is Shohei Ohtani, and the other one name is Aaron Judge. That is it. That is the cream of the crop right there. You can win a championship on the backs of those guys. And apparently some pitching. Yankees can't win without pitching. But you can win a championship on the backs of those guys. Everybody else is just a superstar or very good. And you need more to help you win. So I don't want another superstar. I don't want another $800 million 5-year contract guy. I don't want any of that. I want young players. I want to purge somebody else's minor league system. I want to retool, refit. And I want to I want death by 1,000 paper cuts for this baseball team. That's the kind of baseball team that I want. I want a team that sacrifice bunts, sacrifice flies, pulls balls, ground balls, move people over to death out of teams. Works walks to death. 1 run here, 1 run there, 2 runs here, 2 runs there, 1 run here, 1 run here. That's what I want. I don't care anymore about the 17 home runs in one game. Okay, great. Ooh, like fireworks. It's awesome. But that hasn't worked for us. It hasn't captured the ultimate prize. And why would you constantly go down that road? Change it up. Again, change the DNA of this team. You're seeing the Phillies doing that this year. They're getting away from the superstar thing. Yeah, I mean, Bo Bichette, but it didn't work. So let's get out of that headspace of a superstar for a superstar. I don't want that anymore, man. I don't think about you that you think you are right and would have signed. MattyB, I didn't think about that, and I think you're right. We would have signed him. Yeah, I mean, why would you go after Pete Alonso when you had the chance to get him? I mean, the media makes up stuff too. I disagree, Joe. What are they making up? What are they making up? Are they making up things that you don't agree with? I'm not saying you're totally wrong. Please bear with me. What have they made up egregious so far? They filled in some blanks. They provided some information that we weren't supposed to hear. I don't think that nothing's been made up about Bryce Harper. Nothing's been made up about Nick Castellanos. These guys are living their lives out in the open for everyone to see to begin with. What exactly is the media making up? And don't get me started on that about the media. The media gets blamed for putting out controversial stories, and they get accused of making that stuff up. They get accused of reporting the truth, but because the truth doesn't fit a certain narrative, they get accused of being of stirring up crap. I mean, it's such a damn hypocritical situation. I disagree. In this case, I'm not saying that overall you're wrong, but in this case with sports and what I've seen, I don't think I've seen anything made up at all. I've seen things that were reported that people didn't like, but that's not making stuff up. That's reporting truth that people don't like to hear. That's a difference. But good start to a nice conversation. A nice normal conversation here on the network. But before I get too far in, we're 20 minutes already, I want to remind everybody what's happening on the network this week. Here you go. The rest of your week tonight. You had me in the Pittsburgh Sports Tonight program. Tomorrow, it's the Pittsburgh all day, all time. It's the Sports Tonight and the desk and me. Thursday, you got the Gridiron Weekly and me. Friday, Philly Friday Frenzy. Best of the It's a Wrap Sports on Saturday and Philly AM Sports on Sunday. There will not be a final word with MattyB on Sunday because that is the day that I am once again going to try to head down south. Matter of fact, there probably will not be another final word until Tuesday of next week because I got a game Monday night and I'm not going to be back in time for that. So, yeah, probably not till Tuesday. So get me in as you can over the next couple of days because you might have to go without for a little while until next Tuesday. So there's your schedule for the rest of the week. Let's get into and then also tonight, again, I got into my intro and I forgot some things. We are going to do the day in Philadelphia sports history. We are going to get into our card that we didn't do last night, and we are going to do the other night segment as well. So let's get this thing rolling. Keep your head, let's strap in, strap on, strap up. Keep your head, hands, and feet inside the car at all times. And here we go. Your day in Philadelphia sports history on this day, 1968. The Flyers. This is a Flyers-related fact. After a performance by the Ice Capades, strong winds blew part of the covering of the Spectrum roof off, forcing the Flyers to play their home games on neutral sites for the final month of the NHL season. So there you go. I remember hearing about that. I obviously wasn't around for that, but I do remember hearing about the roof coming off the Spectrum, canceling all the remaining Flyers home games where they had to move around to finish out their season. Of course, this was before the Flyers hit their stride as a franchise. What was their second year in the league? So I do remember hearing about that. And yeah, so there you go. Again, another boring fact on another boring sports night here in February. On this night, high winds blew the roof off of the Spectrum, causing the Flyers to cancel the remainder of their home games and had to play them on neutral sites all over the place for the rest of the season. And that little factoid was presented to you by the Pittsburgh Sports Tonight show. Let's talk about them. John Phillips comes at you Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays at 7, delivering some Pittsburgh sports knowledge. If you are interested in that, make sure you head over and check them out. They're thinking about going to 4 nights, but we haven't really kind of hammered that down. But right now they're just doing 3 nights. Make sure you check them out exclusively here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember that. If you're watching us from somewhere else other than the eastern part of the world, of the United States, North America, where we go off Eastern Time here. So make sure that you understand that going forward. MattyB, I feel Bryce made a big mistake by acting like a baby, as now his teammates won't look at him as a leader. Again, this ain't the first time though, Bruce, right? I cite the 2020 incident back in the COVID season when we had the cardboard people in the stands and they were trying to press for a contract for JT Realmuto. He's stroking home runs in a very quiet Citizen Bank Park, and he's rounding the bases, yelling out at the top of his lungs, "Sign him." That's somewhat of a babyish type of thing to do, right? I mean, listen, Bryce Harper has been revered and held higher in a high regard, looked up to, treated differently pretty much his entire life. That's what happens when you're gifted athletically in America. You can go back and actually read about his childhood, read about how he was sort of taken on by, what's his name? The agent, Boris, at a very young age. He was actually signed to Scott Boris, or his parents were. There was an agreement put into place because there was obvious signs that this kid was going to be very, very good at baseball. With that comes a certain level of, demeanor. When you are raised, there's a certain level of, I don't know, elitism, being a baby, wanting what you want, when you want it, and how you want it, kind of attitude there. This is not necessarily a new development in Bryce Harper's character. It's not. It's not. But again, I to a certain extent understand how he feels, but I would go at it on a different level. Like I sit here and say, well, that wouldn't bother me if my boss made a public proclamation saying my performance was less than what was expected. Right. I said that I would internalize that, turn it to something good, make it, a motivational factor for me to be better. I would say that. And I'd say it wouldn't bother me, but yeah, it would bother me because in everybody wants to be looked upon by people that I don't have a boss anymore, but like when I was in the Army, there you go. When I was in the Army, there was you had to get promoted. You had to go up through certain steps to get promoted. You had to get identified in order to be promoted. You had to go to boards. You had to take tests. You had to go to leadership schools. You had to do all that kind of stuff. And when you do get into that next level, you want to go right in with your gun smoking. You want to be the best, whatever you are at what rank that's ever seen. And when you screw up or when you perform less than you think you did, and you're kind of evaluated that way and called out that way, you can get a little butthurt. I'm not sitting here saying that you shouldn't. But one, to lie to us, the people, about how that's not a motivating. When he says it doesn't motivate me either way. Well, you're a liar, dude. Of course it's motivating you. Of course it's a burr under your saddle, man. It's bothering you. It's okay to admit that. It's okay to sit up there and say, he was right to say it. I did not play elite last year. And you know what? I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry to you. I'm sorry to the Phillies. I'm sorry to everybody who pays good money to come out and watch me play that I didn't play elite. And I guarantee you, I'm going to do everything I possibly can this year to change that. That would be all he would have to say. And that would be a done friggin' deal. Walk away from the mic, drop the mic. Then you step behind closed doors with Dave Dombrowski and you have it out with him. And then you go from there. But this back and forth nonsense, it's going to be the next 6 friggin' months of my life of listening to the days of Bryce Harper and friggin' Dave Dombrowski. It's going to annoy me heavily. And especially now, I know growing up in the generation that I grew up in, Mike Schmidt, right? The greatest Philly ever, right? The greatest third baseman ever to play the game, the greatest Phillies player to ever play third base, greatest Phillies player, period. It wasn't all rainbows and sunshine with him, all right? There was a very toxic relationship between the fans and Mike Schmidt. Now, we've changed as a fan base for the worse. We're no longer that way, right? We kiss ass now. And we're very easily influenced by other people. But Mike Schmidt said one of the things that he regrets the most about his career, when it was all said and done with, is he wasn't open more to criticism. He wasn't open more to criticism, and that he did not understand where the criticism was coming from. It was coming from a good place. It was coming from the place that they wanted him to be the best he could be. It wasn't to demean him or put him down. It was just, please, we know you can be this way, and we're trying to motivate you to be that way. He says he regrets that. Maybe Mike Schmidt needs to talk to Bryce Harper. Maybe they need to have a little sidebar so he can kind of drop some knowledge on the young man. So if things do go wrong and say Bryce Harper is not elite, will there be not elite t-shirts, hats, signs? Will they start sprouting up in Citizen Bank Park? They probably won't, but they sure as hell would have started sprouting up at the vet. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There would be a whole not elite clothing line started back in the day. So we as a fan base also, I mean, is it going to be a chorus line of standing ovations? We're going to stand up for Orion Kirkering on opening day? Are we going to give Bryce Harper a standing? Who's not getting a standing ovation on opening day? I mean, is this what we're going to, that's how we'll deal. That's how this modern day fan base will deal with that. We'll give people a standing ovation. Soft ass shit. Right? Listen, it was said. Was it in the proper context? Was it the right place? Yes, no, absolutely. Both ways. But you know what? Be a man. And he's not handling like a man. He's going on podcasts, dropping little side comments. Oh, I don't know how, I'm not elite anymore, so I wouldn't know what elite is. You guys saw those little clips surfacing on the internet today. He was on some podcast, dressed like a grunge rocker from the 90s, right? He's going to drop little side comments. He's going to be a baby about it. Just come out and say it pisses me off. I would have more respect for you as a man if you would say that instead of this pandering Gen Z crap about, gaslighting and being hypocritical. So I'm done with it, man. I'm so done with it. And he's not much and I don't think Bryce Harper was much of a leader, honestly. I don't think he was. And I don't think he's the leader of this team. I really don't know who the leader is. Tony Clark resigned. Yeah, I saw that, man. Was he like messing around with his sister-in-law or promoted her and all kinds of allegations about that? Jesus Christ, man. MattyB, I read where Bryce Harper was a national that Jonathan Papelbon beat him up beating. Yeah, I saw that. I remember seeing that. And if you're going to have that nut job in your face, you must be really screwing up, man. Jonathan Papelbon, man. Talk about an unhinged human being, all right? And if you're going to get him irate, what are you doing, man? But I do remember that. I remember seeing that. They're arguing in the dugout. Yeah. Bryce Harper's a golden boy. He is. But it's kind of not his fault, right? It's kind of not his fault. That's what society has provided him since he was a kid. I mean, you plant, you got corn, you plant corn, you're going to get corn. All right. That's just the way it is. I think Dombrowski should have handled it internally, but Harper should have owned it. Okay. Again, I'm not saying you're wrong, but it wasn't handled internally. It was handled externally, right? And yes, two wrongs don't make a right. So Harper had an opportunity, Al, is that what you're saying, to diffuse it, own it, or he had an opportunity to fire back, which obviously he chose the latter. Okay? Two wrongs don't make a right. I get it. Now, to Dave Dombrowski's defense and credit, I think he's getting frustrated. I think he's getting frustrated with with having those types of press conferences. I think he wants to tell everybody exactly what's going on, but obviously he can't. He probably wants to sit up there and say, listen, I don't have any money. Middleton won't give me any more. Get off my back. I'm trying. All right. That's what I think he wants to say, or something to that effect. But he can't. Right? He can't. So he's got to say these things, and he's got to go to bed saying these things. And I get it. He's got to come up with something better than winning is hard. He's got to work on that. But I get it. But he was frustrated. He was frustrated by the season. He was frustrated by another failed attempt. And he said exactly what we have all been thinking and saying for months. Right? Right? And as I've said on this show, elite, superstar, great player, good player, mediocre player, whatever. Baseball, as you say all the time, is a game of 30%, right? 300 is well above average in this game. Okay, no one's expecting anybody to bat 500. No one's expecting everybody to hit 162 home runs, drive in 700 runs. We're not expecting any of that. But what we haven't gotten from Bryce Harper in a very long time is clutch baseball. Clutch baseball, right? 0 for 4 is fine, whatever. 1 for 4 is fine, as long as that one is an 8th inning single that drives in 2 runs, or a 9th inning walk-off home run that wins you the game. Right? 1 for 4 is fine with me, as long as that one is placed well. But last year, the 1 for 4 was in the 3rd inning with 2 outs, a single with nobody on. And he was striking out in the 9th inning when he had the game in his hands. So that's probably the biggest problem I have with Bryce Harper. It's not the superstar versus elite. I mean, he's a very good baseball player. He's one of the best. And that's not going to change. But what he has not been very good at lately is being clutch. And that's that's obviously on display since the 2023 season. The last time was 2022, right? But since 23, since Tommy John, it hasn't been the same when it comes to the clutch. That to me is the, is the factor here. And until that changes, the criticism is going to continue. So maybe Dombrowski should have said he wasn't clutch. Maybe we should have just stayed away from elite and just gone with the C word. He wasn't clutch last year. Maybe we wouldn't be talking about all this right now. Bump Bryce Harper. Ooh, MattyB, that was funny. Thank you. Are the phones open? They are. I'll get to them in a second. They are. Diffuse it and turn it around without seeming like a pouting child. Yeah. He could have done that, but he chose the latter. He chose to sort of address it. And I believe the exact comment was, that's wild that he said it. That paraphrase, of course. And then he doubled down and said, I don't need that to motivate me. So he lied at the end of all of it. Of course he's using it to motivate it. Of course it's bothering him. Be honest, man. Or, as you said, diffuse it and walk away from it. But what he did is spun it a whole other way. Since the Braves series in 23 was the last time we saw clutch Harper baseball. Yeah. Attaboy, right? That's the last time, right? Bump dummy Dombrowski as Middleton has shelled out hundreds of millions of dollars with nothing in return. Well, Dave, you created this team. You kept the buffoon. It's all on you. He didn't create Harper. Harper was brought here by Clentak. Remember that a long time ago? I mean, he didn't create. Dombrowski inherited a blueprint, right? Dombrowski inherited an initiative to get this team, full of superstars. Let's also be honest, right? JT and Harper were Clentak, and then it was, hey, we're going down this road with spending stupid money. We're going to continue to do that. And Dave was probably like, okay, great. Yeah, all right. Well, who are the top free agents that I can go after? Wheeler, Turner, Schwarber, Castellanos. I mean, let's be a little honest with ourselves. It wasn't, I'm not saying that wasn't what Dombrowski wanted to do, but that was the blueprint that had already been established by Clentak and Middleton at the end of the Clentak era, right? He didn't bring Harper or Real Muto here. He didn't. Now he re-signed him. Wait, was that Clentak who re-signed? No, Clentak got fired at the end of 2020, right? Can't remember. No, Dombrowski got here in 21, 22. Anyway, Real Muto and Harper were not Dombrowski. They were already here. So I understand what you're saying, but I'm not going to criticize Dombrowski for giving an ultimatum. Hey, here's the stupid money. Get me the stupid free agents. Right? They didn't work out. Some of them worked out. Wheeler worked out. Schwarber's worked out. Real Muto apparently has worked out. They keep bringing them back. I mean, Harper hasn't really worked out, I guess. I don't know. Listen, no one was sitting here back in 2019 or 2020 or 2021 or 2022 saying, stop that. Stop signing these players. I don't want Kyle Schwarber here. I don't want JT Real Muto. I don't want Harper. Well, Real Muto was a trade, but I don't want them guys. Stop bringing these high-priced free agents in. What are you doing? No one was saying that, Papernick. Come on. Let's be honest with ourselves. Right? We're all on the same train together. Yeah. Unfortunately, it hasn't worked. That's the biggest thing. Anyway, all right, so let me get the phone lines open. And I do want to discuss endless possibilities when it comes to Bryce Harper, because of all this bitching, there's a way around it. We can stop the bitching. We can end it tonight. Tonight, it could be ended. Well, maybe not tonight, but soon. We could explore a realistic trade opportunity for Bryce Harper. Okay? A realistic trade opportunity for Bryce Harper. And again, I am not breaking any news. I'm not. I've talked about this before. I don't think I've thrown some names on it. but I am prepared to throw some names on it tonight. Okay? I am prepared to throw some names on it tonight. Because I think with all this talk about trading Bryce Harper and with all this talk about, the talk about trading Bryce Harper, everyone's like, well, there's no way you can do that. There's no team out there that will take Bryce Harper on. There is. And you know it as well as I know it. There is a team out there that is willing to take Bryce Harper on. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's get to the phones. Talk to Joe Hale. Joe, how you doing?
I'm great. I'm gonna argue about the media because somebody's making up about Harper also, and it's not the Phillies media. It's another beat writer is complaining that Harper went on a podcast and bashed Dombrowski, but he didn't. He's using this to his fire.
What podcast? Was it the one he was on today?
No, this was yesterday.
Was it the one where he was wearing a flannel shirt?
No. He was
I didn't see that one.
He was wearing his Fanatic headband. Which I know why he does that now.
Why is that?
Because his kid loves the Fanatic so bad.
Oh, Joe, stop humanizing him. Joe, he's a panderer. All right, Joe. He is as Philadelphia. He is as Philadelphia as Troy Aikman is. All right. But he's coming here and he's got to immerse himself in the culture. He's got to go over the top to try to sell himself to you and me that he's part of this community. That guy ain't Philadelphia. That guy couldn't spend 1 week living in my neighborhood in Philadelphia. He'd go crazy. There's no blood boiling machines anywhere in Mayfair. All right. All right. I'm sorry, man. He wouldn't make it.
So you're talking about a trade. I don't think it's going to be like 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
What, 2029?
Yes.
Okay.
It's going to be right before his contract ends. It's not going to be right up. And they want proven players. You know what I mean? At least two of them.
Okay.
And what would it be? Like, how many prospects would you give?
How many prospects would I want in return?
Yes.
I would want at least 5. I would use the Juan Soto, Mason Miller model in order to recomp a Bryce Harper.
So 4 prospects and a decent player, proven player.
I don't care about the proven player. Give me 5 top of the line. I want your top 3 AAA, your top 1 AA, your top 1 high A, and your top 1 low A. That's what I want. I want to purge your entire system at the top of every level. That's what I would want. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm all about building for the future.
Yeah, I totally agree. And Hayden Miller is the future.
Yep.
I'm going to get into an Eagles topic. I'm sure it's circulating right now. Kelly Ringo is going to be cut. They're going to get under the cap. Because, you know, the new league year started already, right?
I did not know that. I thought the new league year began on like the 17th of March.
Yeah. No, you can start cutting people now. Because, who was it? Tyreek Hill got cut.
Oh, yeah. No. I get you there. No, you can cut players. You're right. But, it's not because it's the new league year. You can, you can start franchising players now. You can start cutting players. Yeah. You can't start signing. The new league year actually doesn't start until March 11th. And that's when the new league year begins. That's when you can start signing free agents and making. You can start confirming these. They're going to start signing the tampering period and all that. They can start moving people around, but nothing is official until March 11th.
So I read a stat. I'm going to find it. Eagles are going to cut your boy, everybody's boy, Kelly Ringo.
Why is he my boy? What the hell do I care? Like cut Kelly Ringo? Is it Keely or Kelly? Keely Ringo, isn't it?
Yes. They're gonna cut him. They're gonna cut two other people. I read. They're gonna cut the guy that they acquired from the Raiders. They're gonna save some money. And
You're telling me Jacorian Bennett's going to get cut? Are you serious? After all he provided?
yeah.
Oh my God.
And Lane Johnson's coming back because he put out a tweet working at the gym saying he's right. He's ready.
Until I hear it from the Eagles, it ain't true.
Hey,
Like I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard anything about Vic Fangio yet either.
no, I did. John Clark retweeted.
I'm talking about the Eagles. Now they don't have to announce their coaching staff for next year until later on. That's what I'm waiting to hear.
Elliot Shore Parks retweeted it also, and that's he's in Eagles locker room.
Elliot Shore Parks is also the one who said Dave Dombrowski said the rudest thing ever to Bryce Harper. All right, I'm not taking anything that he says for any goddamn worth. Come on.
No, I think who was it? Super Bowl week. Dijon even said he was coming back for one more year.
I haven't heard it. Well, I mean, obviously, if he's not coming back, they would have to be looking for
a
coordinator. But still, I haven't heard anything official.
I agree. The USA game, it would be Sunday.
At 2:00.
No, 8:00 in the morning. Sunday.
Local time. Local Italy time.
No, somebody said.
Yes.
NBC said it would be 5:00 in the morning here.
Joe, they're not going to show the gold medal game, they're not going to show the gold medal game at 8:00 in the morning on Sunday. It's being shown at 2:00. Whether that's live or on a delay, I don't know, but they're not showing the gold medal game at 8:00 in the morning. Come on, Joe.
One quick topic. Ricky is doing horrible.
Can you elaborate or no?
He's not eating.
Going back to the hospital?
No, he has to start eating. Ricky, if you watch us, start eating.
Yeah, Ricky, eat a sandwich, man. Go to Wawa. Go visit Joe at a Wawa and get a hoagie.
Wait, don't come see me at Wawa. It's all good. But I did an NFL draft, and I had the Eagles taking a line, no line.
And the first at 23 overall, they're not going to go after that tight end from Oregon.
No, they're going to trade up to the 17th.
Okay. What are they giving up to trade up to the 17th pick?
Future draft picks.
2027 and beyond?
No, 28. Like a third round pick.
You pulled off a mock trade where somebody accepted a 2028 third round pick to go from 23 to 17?
Yeah.
Okay. That's great. I don't know if that actually would work in reality, but maybe a 2027 third round pick. I wouldn't even do that. No, I wouldn't do that. Second round pick. Yeah. And a third round pick.
See you tomorrow.
All right, Joe. Come back. All right, Joe Hale. Yeah, I saw that. It's a little confusing about the start time. I saw 8:00 start and I saw a 2:10 start. I don't know what local time is in Italy. I think they're like 6 hours or 8 hours ahead, maybe, or behind. I don't know. But I do know that they're not going, even if the game is at 8, if it's live at our time, 8 a.m., they're not showing it live at 8 a.m. It's the gold medal game of the Olympics. It's like one of the last things that they're going to show on the Olympics. And especially if it's USA Canada. If it ain't USA Canada, if it's freaking Sweden and friggin' Chechnya, then I don't really care if they should put it on TV at all. But and they probably wouldn't care at that point either. But if it's USA Canada, there's no way they're showing that game at 8:00. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that. As far as what Joe said about cutting players, I kind of agree with those. Tua is going to get cut. I heard Miami's about to cut him. They cut what's his name, with the Hill, the receiver, who's still dealing with ACL problems. I agree. Keely Ringo, Jacorian Bennett. I mean, there's probably about 20 other players you can get rid of too, on top of the 23 players that you could do. The men's gold medal game is scheduled for Saturday, 22 February at 8:10 p.m. Local time. So, hey there, Al. The 22nd of February is a Sunday, not a Saturday. The semifinal game is Friday, so they're not going to go back to back. And I see a 2:10 and 8 a.m. time start. 2:10 time local and 8 a.m. Eastern. So maybe it is at 8 o'clock in the morning. That's weird if they do that. That's weird. That is weird. 8 o'clock in the morning for the gold medal game. That would suck. 22nd February is a Sunday. The game is on Sunday. But Joe might be right. As I said, I saw that. I saw that time, and I was confused by it as well. So maybe it is at 8 o'clock in the morning. I don't know. 100% of teams would take him. Okay, so let's get to it. Here we go. I am going to provide, before I take our next caller, I am going to provide you my team that they are going to trade Bryce Harper to. And it's not a hard team to figure out. It's a team that's staring you right in the face. Matter of fact, it's a team that might be the hottest young team in all of baseball today. It's a team whose future is gleaming as bright as the strip that it's going to be located on here in about 3 years. And it also happens to be Bryce Harper's hometown. It's the A's. Bryce Harper is going to the Las Vegas A's. And why I say in 2028, because that's obviously the first year that they're going to be in Vegas. And why would Bryce Harper make sense going to the A's? Look at this lineup. They have a lineup currently. This is their projected 2026 roster. This is their 2026 roster. Nick Kurtz, Langerly, I never say his name. Langerlers, Rooker, Soderstrom, Wilson, McNeil, Lawrence Butler, Max Muncy, and Denzel Clark. Clark, Butler, Wilson, Soderstrom, and Kurtz are all 3 years or less MLB experience. And they're all very projected to have very bright futures. By 2028, they're going to round into some form. Max Muncy, Jeff O'Neill, and of course Brent Rooker and Langer Lee is the catcher, are the veteran presence of that baseball team. You can interchange any one of those guys. Bryce Harper would make so much sense for the Las Vegas A's on so many different levels for both the A's, the Phillies, and Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper gets to go home to his hometown and be the face of that franchise in its first season in Vegas. I honestly believe that this roster, now the only problem with this team in 2026 is the pitching. The pitching is extremely developed and underwhelming. Could go either way here with their pitching staff. Soriano is really the only kind of known commodity out of any of these players. They're all younger starters. But there are prospects in the waiting. I think the A's are going to I think they're going to be a wild card team in the AL. They're my dark horse, man. I got them going to the playoffs this year. And I got that energy, that buzz being created by the A's starting now. And if you could slide a Bryce Harper, an aging Bryce Harper at that, into this lineup around the 4 to 6 hole, and there's more prospects coming up behind these guys. And that's why I'm going after the A's. All right. Not only are they the younger, a hot young rising team, they have a very, very potent, very, very stout minor league system for being terrible for 25 years. And the one player, and everyone's going to want to know, well, MattyB, who do you want in return? And I mentioned a little bit with Joe Hale, who are some of the players that I would look to take from the A's. I'm not going to get into, I'm going to key on 2 players The one prospect who I want is Leo DeVeers. Leo was the actual number one prospect in baseball last year, was in the San Diego system. He was traded to the A's in exchange for the Mason Miller deal that sent Miller to the Padres. He's a 19-year-old shortstop currently right now in the A's system. He's in Double-A right now. He can play second. He can also play third. Overall scouting grades, he's rating in around a 60 with a 60 hit profile, 55 power, 55 run, 55 arm, a 50 field, and an overall 60. Currently, he is the number 4 prospect in all of Major League Baseball. All right. He's an international prospect. And he would look nice in my infield of 2028. The second player that I would going to get from the A's, still can't say it right, Jamie Arnold. This was a kid we talked about last year or in 2024. Highly touted pitching prospect. It's coming out that year. 5-tool kind of guy. Already in Double-A after just one full minor league season, he's made it to Double-A. He's a starter that can backfill either Zach Wheeler or backfill Aaron Nola. Those are just two of the prospects and the kind of prospects I am looking for. Jamie Arnold is currently the 41st ranked prospect in all of Major League Baseball. So I want the 4th and the 41st prospect in the entire game as part of my Bryce Harper package. And this trade makes sense for everybody involved. The A's at one point are going to have to go all in with a face. They're going to have to invest the franchise. Now, Nick Kurtz, Jacob Wilson, they are faces. They are the new core of this team. Right now, Brent Rooker is probably the biggest draw money-wise. But they're desperately looking for a face for the franchise, and Bryce Harper would provide that. And by 2028, when they move to Vegas, they will be in prime position to be legitimate contenders in the American League. A primo destination for the hometown product of Bryce Harper. Matter of fact, he can take, what's his name, with him? The other Vegas boy, Stott. They can go together. I'll throw him in. He's part of the trade. Nothing extra. I'm throwing him in there. It's a parting gift. Or say a housewarming present. There's Bryson Stott. So it makes sense to me that the new destination for Bryce Harper is the Athletics. And yes, it's a team that makes so much sense from a prospect-rich pool that the A's are. I don't want Kyle Tucker. I don't want friggin' Bellinger. I don't want Ohtani. I don't want those guys. I want the 4th and the 41st prospects in all of Major League Baseball to start. So there you go. Bryce Harper to the A's by 2028. Talk me out of it. Talk me out of it, Papernick.
Hey, what up, Matty? So look, maybe I'm wrong about Bryce Harper crying for money. No, he's just going to cry his way out of here now. That's all he's going to do. He's just going to. It's always, and I just seen this article, and it says here, this one says Phillies Bryce Harper clarifies Yankee talks amid Dave Dombrowski rift, but it go and the fans down there are like getting all pumped up about this. I don't know about Oakland because here's the thing about Oakland or whatever you want to call them, Vegas,
Sacramento. Let's call it Sacramento.
Here's the problem: we're not going to get. Here's the problem: in 3 years, we're not going to get them prospects back for him.
Well, I get you. But
that's the problem. You got to get rid of them now.
That's the kind of pool I'm looking to get. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
you're right.
You got to do it now.
As the years go by, he's going to get worse and worse, and it's almost like, well, the money is part of the trade and all that. Yeah, I understand. I'm going to go back to something you said earlier.
I'm glad they signed Harper. I'm glad they signed Turner. My problem with both of them was the contract length and the guaranteed that we're stuck with them. Especially Harper. He can't go to DH for, you know what I mean? You got Schwarber in the way. You can't. Turner, where's he going to go? If he starts declining, what do you slide him to second base? Outfield? I mean, we're stuck with these guys into their 40s getting paid $30 million a year.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. And of course, we all got a hard lesson this year in the new contract in Major League Baseball with the opting out after every year or whatever. 3 years and you opt out after every single season, whatever the opt out thing is. That's or the backfill of the money at the end of the contract. You're right. The Phillies were taught a lesson, and they were maybe one of the last teams to actually go through the old contract process, and that was a bad business model, but it was the model then, you know.
Didn't the Mets? Okay, here's the thing: if Bryce Harper was, how old was he when the Phillies got 30?
Yeah, I don't know. He was 7 years in, so he was 19 when he broke in. He was about 28. Yeah, about 28, 29.
You give him like a 7-year deal till he's 35. See, he ain't. When I mean this, he wasn't Juan Soto signing whatever deal when he's 26 years old. You see where I'm going? Like guys that's it. But when you start, it wasn't really the Harper. It was the years. It was more the Turner contract because he got that in his early 30s.
Yeah.
That's what killed me. It was like, you just gave this guy 10 years, guaranteed 300. We're stuck.
Like he's making like 280. Something like
why
that.
couldn't you just, well, you know what I'm saying? Like give him, like, look, we'll give you 5 years at 250 a year or something. You know, wrong. Get creative, get smaller with the years. That's all. But they just didn't do that.
One of the sticking points allegedly was Harper wanting to have a contract where he could say, that's it. I'm playing there for the rest of my career. That was one of the alleged sticking points in his negotiation. And that's why he didn't go back to the Nationals, because they couldn't offer him that kind of deal, which I find very interesting. With a team that had absolutely no salary they had millions of dollars of salary to give away. But that was one of the problems that he said. He wanted a long-term deal. He wanted a commitment to hang his shingle for the rest of his career.
Well, he did.
Yeah.
The Giants offered him more money, but deferred it, and he didn't want it.
Yeah.
He would have been a San Francisco Giant. And then you got Clentak at the time who couldn't close the deal. He couldn't close whatever. That dude was a moron, you know. So then so Middleton had to get in there, and he got the deal and gave him what he wanted. Then you hired Dombrowski, then, the 2 DHs and the way the team's built. So it's, but Harper's, he's out of here. Look, people think I joke with this. I'm telling you, if after the CBA, you think you heard nothing after what's going to go on this year. Wait till after the year when he's bitching for more money. Yeah. Oh man, he's just looking to get out of here.
Yeah, no, I agree.
He can say whatever he wants. I think he's looking at it going, I just don't want to be here. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he wants Dombrowski out of here. Maybe he just can't deal with Robbie anymore. I don't know, but dude, go out and give me another 100 RBI season for the third time in your career only. Come on, Bryce.
Yeah.
I get it. You got Hart, you got Schwarber in front of you. Well, you're supposed to be the leader on the team. Go to Robbie, who you can control, just like Schwarber and Turner, and say, bump him down or give Schwarber $10 million to bump down. I don't know what to tell you. Like, whatever. You mean stop? He wants out. He's whining. I'm telling you, this team you ain't seen nothing yet. Nothing. Man, he's just man. This is going to get good. They thought everybody. You know what's funny? This is deflecting from the Castellanos thing now. Now everybody's going to focus on this, and all that stuff's just going to sit back.
Yeah, no, it's terrible. I hate this. Let's play some baseball, for God's sakes. This is terrible, man. I know, and it was literally seamlessly how they transitioned. Right from Castellanos, right to Harper. I mean, they didn't even miss a beat. I was like, God damn, can you give us a break? Can you let us like catch our breath before we get into another drama situation? Give us a day at least of like, hey, let's concentrate on baseball. No, let's go right to it. It's terrible. I want games, man. I want game action.
Well, that's what I want too. I want to see some spring training games, and I want to see some. I'll watch some of the World Baseball Classic. But I want to. I look, for me, for all the smack I talk about this team. Look, I do want to see them win the World Series. Do I want to see them get to this? Yeah, I just don't see it. There's a lot. There's like a lot of ifs, what ifs,
100%,
could be's, all this stuff. And you want to know what? This is the offense. It isn't the lack of your pitching depth. It's the lack of your pitching depth that's going to kill you. It's going to kill you. All your eggs are in Aaron Nola to have a bounce back season. Taiwan Walker and nobody are hoping that, you know what I mean. A guy who's never pitched one time in MLB up there in the big leagues. That's where the problem is, because after the first two pitchers, you're just hoping. Then it's a lot of hope.
There was a lot of hope when you throw. Go ahead. Pat.
You know you're going to get out of the. You know we're going to get out of this offense, Matty. You know we're going to get out of it.
We're going to get. You know what I mean? Yeah, we're going to get about 220 home runs. We're going to get a runners in scoring position batting average of around 240, 235 around there. We're going to get about 1,300 strikeouts. We're going to get I know, and they're going to average about 5 runs a game. I know what they're going to do. You're right. I do.
But what's got to cover their ass? The pitching does. And when you ain't got the starting pitching, it can't cover that. It can't mask all the mistakes on offense. So but that's what I'm getting at. The Phillies need another pitch. 7 years, $172 million they gave this guy. That's what they gave him as his contract. You can't move that. You cannot move that if you wanted to.
Terrible contract.
No,
and we all talked about it. It was a terrible contract.
So we're okay. Here's a question for you: What's a bounce back season for Aaron Nola? What do you think, number wise or wins? Just total wins. What do you think?
About 15 wins, about a 4.25 ERA.
Okay. He's got to get 15 wins. I think he goes 11, 12 wins. Around that, what you said about 4, maybe ERA. Is that worth the money? Is that really your number 3 starter?
No,
that's my point.
Not. Yeah, you're right.
But
it's better than 6.05 and like 6 wins. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But what I'm getting at is you can have 2. You got an elite pitcher in Sanchez, who I consider elite. I do. You got Luzardo, who's pitching for a contract, who I think is going to have a good, and everything else is the question marks. And it's all going to. It's like when you're winning, everything looks good, but as soon as it goes bad, it's all going to be exposed. It's all going to come out. See, it's like a good defense, like a great offense. You can put 51 points up in football, but your defense can't hold the team to 50. To 50, they put up 52. That's what I'm getting at. Can this pitching staff and Aaron Nola, who I'm putting as the main guy, can he hold up in the middle and hold his end up of the bargain? That's the problem we're all putting into. And nobody wants to talk about that. I heard, did you see this? Max Scherzer. Oh, there's real good news on the Max Scherzer front. What's the good news? Just offer to do the contract. He ain't like he got 40 teams knocking on his door. Just offer him the contract. I guarantee he'll sign here. He's pitched for the Yankees, Toronto, the Nats. He wants to be on the East Coast. So just put the contract out there and just get him. At least you know you're getting him at number 4. As Mike Lauro said, and I called Mike out on it, as Mike Lauro said, last year or whatever, him and Nola were basically on the same level of pitching. How does that work out? If Scherzer's on the same level of Nola and Scherzer's in his 40s, what's that tell you about Nola?
No, I agree. Listen, he had a terrible he had a terrible season, and
he hasn't pitched really good at all.
No, he hasn't pitched to that contract. I'll give you that. Prior to 2019 was what? 2018, 2019 was vintage Nola, right? Right before they kind of got good. He was like that ace type of pitcher. Never quite took the ace step, but 2018, 2019 was the good stuff there. Nola's always been a very competent pitcher when protected in front of the rotation by a Zach Wheeler or an ace. He's never been an ace, and I'll give you that. I don't like the contract. I never did like the contract. But last season hopefully was an anomaly. I was the first person to get very concerned about an Aaron Nola that was throwing a fastball around 91 miles an hour. I was very concerned about that. And then I was more concerned that he wouldn't even try to use his breaking stuff anymore, that he was constantly going back to that 91 mile an hour fastball, and they were tattooing the hell out of him. So you're right.
Mm-hmm.
I was very concerned. And then they got the labrum problem. He had a core muscle issue, allegedly, that cost him pretty much the entire season. And they're saying that's what the issue was. I don't know. I don't know if a core muscle issue lowers your velocity. Obviously, you're pitching from your core. You're drawing power from your midsection. You are. But that was about a 5 mile an hour dip in his velocity from 2024 to 2025. So, yeah, that's very concerning, Kaepernick. I agree with you.
So you just rolled off, I don't know, 3-4 injuries he had last year or something like that?
Well, it was one. It was the labrum problem. But then called him all year, allegedly.
Yeah, but then you said the core problem, supposedly.
The labrum core is all kind of in the same area. Something down in his ribs that he couldn't, Well,
the labrum's the shoulder. The labrum's the shoulder.
He had a sore labrum early in the season. Then he had a problem with his ribs later on. So there was about 2 injuries, yeah.
So let's let this guy, instead of giving him spring training and then let him settle in to the season, we're going to let him pitch the World Baseball Classic. I don't care if it's one game, a half an inning. I don't get this. Like, because we killed Joel. We killed Joel Embiid for this.
Yeah, but we can't.
We're all hoping this guy.
Wait. We got to give Aaron Nola an opportunity to pitch for his native Italy. Come on, what are you?
Well, that's
He's Italy's favorite son. What are you doing? You can't deprive him of that.
No. Listen, I can't. I have nothing to say about that. That's. But still, point is, he shouldn't be pitching for them. He should focus on the season. I don't care if it's just to give him more innings, like a spring, an extra spring training or whatever. No, we don't. We need you, Aaron. You are the most important piece. Because after you, we got Walker and Painter, and it's an unknown in Painter, and we're hoping Walker shows up.
Yeah, hey, show up 4 innings. That's all I need from Walker. 4 innings every 5 days. That's it. That's all I need from him.
Yeah. But the problem is, here's the problem. Then you got Kirkring pitching in the 5th inning because we got the buffoon who don't know how to manage a bullpen. That's the problem. You got to get this guy into the 5th, 6th inning. They got to get look. They have to go get Scherzer. Walker cannot be in this thing, and at least with Scherzer, we'll figure it. Maybe I don't know. I mean, maybe the 3rd place. I'm just going to keep telling you that every night I talk to you. 3rd place. That's what they're getting. 3rd place. This team's in trouble.
Well, they can't sign Walker Buehler because Buehler signed on with the Padres. He's going to be reunited with Nick Castellanos, so that's out the window. You're right. They do need to pick up a 5th starter. I agree. And that's something that I don't think anyone's going to argue. You're right. They need a safety net. They do.
They do. It wasn't. I would have thought. If they weren't going to sign Schwarber after they could have broke that up and got another pitcher and got a couple of did something differently, but they didn't do it, and here we go.
Well, they signed about 7 different relief pitchers, maybe with the fact that they're going to rotate all these guys up because none of them, they're not all going to start with the Phillies. There's a lot of AAA guys, but maybe that's what they're thinking, that they're going to have to go heavy into the bullpen to kind of counteract, the Taiwan Walker and potential Andrew Painter. So maybe that's where their philosophy was. We're going to sign relief pitchers, I don't know.
No, they signed 7, 10, whatever they signed, 25. They're just going to throw shit at the wall and hope it sticks and one of them pans out. But, that's all they're going to hope. One pans out.
Them all up and out. Yep.
But the problem is,
let's go, kid.
Here's the problem. Alvarado's going to pitch in the 8th, the 6th, the 5th, the 7th. We have no 8th inning guy. You got this guy. Listen, I'm not.
You don't think it's going to be? You don't think it's going to be Keller 7th, Alvarado 8th, or Alvarado / Kirkering in the 8th, and then Duran in the 9th? You don't think that they're going to have a a set back end of the bullpen?
Fuck. Listen, is this a trick question? I mean, because there has to be something. Because you're really putting a lot of stock, and you're giving the buffoon a lot of credit that he's actually going to put this together like that.
Does Mattingly do that?
Now, see, I told you it might be. If you see Don Mattingly like flipping fingers up to him, he's managing the team. I'm just telling you, if he's always
or walking up to the phone and looking at Rob and saying something before he picks the phone off the hook, like, "Are you sure that's what you want?"
Well, no, we're telling Robbie, "Look, you got to do this, Robbie. Come on, like this is what you have to do." It's a mess. You got Duran and you got Alvarado. You have to have good teams have a set back bullpen. Where how it rolls into it. They don't have one, and it's a shame. Look, for all the crap Kirkering, he's ruined Kirkering. Kirkering isn't built to pitch in the 5th, 6th, or 7th inning. He's got the mindset of an 8th inning guy and a 9th guy. That's it. Them two, 8th and 9th. That's it. Yep. You can't put him in any other situations.
I agree with you there. Kirkering would be a closer on any other team but this one because they ruined him. I agree. I still think Kirkering has closer stuff, but not here, but somewhere else.
He's ruined everybody. They brought that close. What was it, 2 years ago? They got the Angels closer. I mean,
Estevez.
Yeah, what happened? How many times he closed? I was shocked I'm shocked to use Duran in the actual closing role. I think it was just because.
Listen, do you remember when they picked Estevez, whatever his name is? Remember when they picked him up and Dombrowski said, literally said it out in front of everybody. He's a closer in Anaheim, but here we're going to use him in a few different ways. I just fell out of my chair when he said that. I'm like, oh, come on, man. Are you really?
Yo, I remember that. And I think the only reason why they used Duran in the 9th because of the show he puts on. They can't bring that out in the 7th inning, him coming out with the spider and all that.
Well, they can bring it out when they're down 4-1 and they bring him in the 9th inning, which was a joke. Remember that?
Yeah, that was a joke too. Yeah, but you see where I'm going. Like you just can't. You just can't. Like they ruined these closers that come here. Look, Soto, who was having a kick-ass year with Detroit, he comes here. What happened? Robbie ruined them. This is what I'm talking about. It ain't a hard thing. We all have a pair of eyes, and most of us can see. And even the ones that can't see, the dog can see it and be like, "Listen, this is a mess." Like the bullpen thing is a mess. Like it's an eye test. Like come on. When you see Kirkering walk out in the 5th inning or the 6th inning, you gotta be sitting there with your head going, God.
Listen, let me tell you, and it's a very interesting point you bring up because I'm going to go back to Game 4 against the Dodgers. When they brought out Duran in the 7th inning, I was like, "What are you doing? What are you doing, man?" I'm like, "Are you serious? We're doing this again?" You brought him out in the 7th inning. Come on, man. Come on. Do you remember that when they brought him out in the 7th inning?
Yeah. Yeah. And they rolled him. Didn't he pitch like 4 innings or 3 innings that night? Was that the night? Was that the night he pitched 3 innings?
So I think did he relieve us? No, Luzardo came in for somebody. Luzardo came in for Duran in the 8th and pitched into the 9th. He came in the 8th. And they brought in friggin' Kirkering in the 9th. In the 8th.
Yes.
He pitched the 8th and he came back out in the 9th, and that's when they blew it. Or 9th and the 10th.
That was the other game.
Whatever, yeah. The last game of the season, he brought Duran out in the 7th after Sanchez coughed up the lead, and they tied it. And I was like, "What are you doing bringing this guy out, man?"
See my point? It comes down to pitching. We all know the offense, like you said, it's going to strike out a lot, put a lot of points on the board. Can they survive? And people, I don't know how Middleton and Dombrowski are sitting up there going and watching this going, this guy, we're going to keep giving him a contract extension. He's ruined the bullpen. He's ruined relief pitchers. He's lost the pennant. Got swept, but we're going to keep giving him an extension. Robbie's got to have pictures on one of them. He's got to have pictures on a couple people in the organization. There's got to be some crazy stuff going on there that he's like, "Listen, as MattyB said, you're getting this. I'm getting a severance pay." You give me my severance pay. He's got to have something. There's no way this guy sticks around this long. They cannot be living off 2000. What was it, 22 or whatever they wanted to work. There's no way they're celebrating still over this. There can't be. There's not a stinking. There can't be. He's got to have something on him. Or there's. Wait a minute. Or how's this sound? Is there anybody who wants the Phillies managing job, just like who want the Eagles offensive coordinator job? Is there?
Yeah, I don't know. I think there is. I think that job's a lot more palatable. I hear what you're saying, though.
Yeah. Well, I'll let you go, Matty. You have a good night. I'll get me tomorrow.
We'll see you tomorrow. All right. Kaepernick coming off the top rope as always. Let's look at some numbers real quick because I'm interested. I've always maintained this. I said, let's do a comment here. Did I hear the Phillies signing an 11-year-old from Venezuela? Venezuela. Was that near Venezuela? I love you, Joe. Yes, I did, Joe. Matter of fact, let's talk about that. Here it is. Here's the 11-year-old. I'm sorry, man. All right. He's a shortstop. His name is David Bashabi. I'm certain I'm saying that wrong. And they signed him to a pre-agreement for $1.8 million. He's part of the class of 2031 of the international free agent signing class. Listen, what in the hell are we doing? Isn't there child labor laws that we have to abide by? I mean, I guess this is one way to tell Bo Bichette, don't come here. That's all right. We're going to sign 11-year-olds. So, yes, Phillies, I never thought I would say this with a straight face. I never thought I would go down this road. But the Phillies, 11-year-old shortstop from Venezuela to a $1.8 million pre-agreement deal. I don't know. It's not a contract, but yeah. Yes. Yeah. So let's start getting it ready now. 11 years old. Wow. Interesting. Amazing. Now, maybe he's all that in the bag. I don't know. But 11-year-old kid. Oh, man. Al says, I'm tired of the Knicks story. Let's play ball. The worst part is when we can start making changes. The lockout will be. Yeah, that's another factor that nobody's really addressing and giving its credence. That lockout is probably driving a lot of what's going on, both with the Phillies and with everybody else, right? In the impending salary cap in baseball. And I don't think that we really understand the ramifications of that and how it's affecting or how it affected the class of 2026. You know, maybe that's why Bo Bichette didn't want to sign a 7-year contract going into a potential, well, not a potential, but a lockout year, right? You know, I get it. You know, I don't think we're giving that as much credence as it's probably going to need to be given about this, especially as it affected this year's draft or free agent class. Hey, Dave, 11-year-old. They might as well face. She's 14. She's very good. There you go. That's what I'm talking about, man. No one was offering me a $1.8 million pre-agreement deal playing in Mayfair back in 1984. I would have signed that contract. I would have done it 100%. My dad could have driven me down to Vet Stadium that day. Oh, man. And that's one way to skin a cat, right? Get them when they're young. I don't know. It's amazing. The world has changed. Listen, on a serious note, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous that you're offering an 11-year-old $1.8 million. All right? It's absolutely ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous. It's a sad testament to our society and our state of how we conduct business. He's a kid. All right. He's just as a kid as you can be. Leave him alone. There needs to be a free agent. They're not free agent. There needs to be an international draft every year to coincide with the actual MLB draft. They need to do it side by side. You need to run through the 20 rounds of the MLB draft. Then you turn around and do the 20 rounds of the free, or how many ever rounds it would be for the international draft. You need to do it. That is the only way to do stuff. This is ridiculous, signing an 11-year-old player. All right? I'm sorry. You're not getting me to agree, and I'm one of the more open people when it comes to, hey, get your own, brother. But he's 11. 11. What happens if he wants to be a fireman or a policeman or a soldier? What happens if he changes what he wants to be when he grows up? All right? He's 11. Ridiculous that they sign an 11-year-old. I'm sorry. Sorry. It's ridiculous. Needs to be an international draft every year. I would have taken $1.8 million every year in hot dog pretzel. You're right. Yeah, okay. You're absolutely right. I'm giving myself too much credit. You're right. I would have done the same. All right. Back to what Kaepernick was saying. Kaepernick's a good guy. Kaepernick's a little, he's Kaepernick. And his opinion matters. And his opinion is worth something. I don't see the same thing he does. I don't. I said it last night. Pitching, when it comes to this team, and then we already looked at the NL East. Even with the Phillies' problems of question marks, with Nola, Walker, and Painter, and Wheeler, really, they still have a deeper, more seasoned rotation than just about every team in the NL East. I haven't done a deep dive, and they sure as hell have a better rotation than the A's do in the AL West. I haven't done a deep dive on MLB and all the rotations. I just did the division and the A's, but the Phillies rotation, even as is something I would take over any team in the NL East right now. But he's got accurate points. 6.5 ERA from Nola. You can't have that. And that just doesn't work. You're not going to be without Wheeler for about a month and a half, maybe 2 months. You don't know what you're going to get in Painter. You do know what you're going to get in Walker. You're going to get about 4 to 5 innings a timeout. And that's all I want from him, right? That's all I really need from him. So let's look at something, because the Phillies went a large stretch of last season and a very important stretch of last season without Zach Wheeler, okay, in the second half. So I keep numbers on a database that I'm unfortunately going to have to start getting ready to whip out again here soon. So the pitching staff gave up 90 home runs, or not 90. They gave up 87 home runs with Zach Wheeler in the rotation in the first half of the 2025 season. Without Zach Wheeler in the second half, they gave up 90 home runs. So that pretty much averaged out, right? With or without Zach Wheeler. Strikeouts. The Phillies pitching struck out 738 batters in the first half of the season last year. Without Zach Wheeler, they struck out 724. Again, I can live with that. It's a difference between 9.1 versus 8.9. It's still about nine strikeouts a game. I can live with that. Walks. Phillies pitchers issued out 235 walks in the first half of 2025. They issued out 202 in the second half, down 33. So they were better with not giving up walks in the second half. Left on base. Phillies pitching left 569 runners on base in the first half of last season. They left 520 on base in the second half. Now that's a considerable dip, right? That's not good. So that didn't work. That went from about 7 a game down to about 6.5. So yeah, that's a little bit more of a considerable number. Runs. The Phillies as a team gave up 332 runs in the first half of the season, 322. And they gave up 336 runs in the second half, a difference of about 4 to 4.1. I can live with that. So I disagree that pitching is going to be the problem for this team, even with the uncertainty, because it goes beyond the starters, right? It does go beyond the starters, and it goes into that bullpen. And I thought the Phillies did a lot of good work, and their bullpen last year, for a lot of it, was not good. It was not impressive. And they've added a lot of arms this year. And I think that those arms, you laugh about it, but each one of those, the Backuses, the Shugarts, I don't remember half of them. They're all going to have their opportunity. The Genesis Cabreras, if he makes the team, they're all going to have their opportunities to pitch in Philadelphia in 2026, because I think the Phillies will go deep into their bullpen and rotate a lot of people in and out because of the problems that they're going to have with some of the continuity in the starting rotation. But pitching, to me, until proven otherwise, is not my main concern. It really isn't. It always, with me, is about the offense. And that is what is going to win this team. They got the pitching. Even right now, they still have the pitching. I'm telling you. I know it doesn't seem like it, but I just read you off a bunch of numbers, and we had a 6.05 ERA Aaron Nola and no Zach Wheeler in the second half of last year. And I just read you off those numbers. There wasn't that big of a change from the first half. So, listen, I'm not, until proven otherwise, I'm not worried about the Phillies pitching. I'm really not. Now, am I doing cartwheels about it? No, of course not. But I'm not necessarily worried about it. All right, let's get to the of the night segment here on the show. Let's roll. All right, we are continuing our run through Philly Spotlight players, the players who I think are going to be pertinent in what happens to the Phillies in 2026. We're getting down to the end, and we're going to talk about a very important player that's going to be overlooked, as he always is, and his position is, but will be, I think, more important than ever, and that's our backup catcher. And I'm assuming it's Rafael Marchand. It's interesting because both him and Stubbs are in camp, but both him and Stubbs are also out of options. So one of them's going to make the team and the other one's getting DFA'd. Now, does Party Boy make the team? Do the Phillies actually do that? Probably not. Stubbs obviously is younger. Stubbs has a little bit more of an athletic thing going on behind the plate. Or not Stubbs, Marchand does. Stubbs has got maybe a hair better offensively, but in what we saw out of Marchand, 42 games, 22 hits, 2 homers, 13 RBIs, a 210 batting average, an OBP of 282, and an OPS of 587. We didn't see much of him. But when he got his opportunities, I thought he tried to make the best of them. JT was somewhat of an Iron Man last year. Backup catcher, solid defender. He's a very good defensively. And that's, I think he outshines Stubbs. That's where he edges Stubbs out offensively, or defensively. They're both kind of the same guy at the plate, but it just makes more sense to me to go with a Rafael Marchand with the youth and all that. But the Phillies would have to actually part ways with Garrett Stubbs. They can't send him down. They got DFA him. And I wonder if he would make it through waivers. He probably doesn't, or he probably does. And they end up re-signing him, sending him back to Lehigh, more than likely. But it's a no-brainer if you ask me. I know they got to bring Stubbs in order to kind of get him on the team or keep him on the team at this point. But yeah, Rafael Marchand, a very important piece, I think, to the 2026 Phillies, more so than he was last year. I think he's going to serve more of a purpose this year. I think you're going to see more of him this year. And hopefully it's not because of injuries to JT Realmuto, but and I like him as a backup catcher. And to be bluntly honest with you, and then, you can take this any way you like it. He's the best we got in the organization right now. Aside from JT, this is the best catcher we have organizationally through 5 levels of minor league play and the major leagues. And I don't know if that's a slight on the Phillies. It is a little bit, but I like Rafael Marchand. I've always liked him. He's battled injuries throughout the early part of his career. Probably missed his window at one point because of those injuries. But if you're asking me if I had to make a choice right now, who's the backup catcher? Is it Stubbs or is it Marchand? I say 10 times out of 10 times, Rafael Marchand. And there you have our spotlight player of the night, Phillies, hopefully backup catcher, Rafael Marchand. So that's what I'm doing. Is attacking third coming back this year? Probably not. Probably not. See you, Stubbs. Yeah, I'd hate to say that. Well, I mean, does anybody actually claim him? I mean, does Garrett Stubbs set the waiver wire ablaze when he hits it? I definitely can see a world where he does not get claimed, and then he'll take I guarantee you he'll take the assignment to come back to the Phillies. Guarantee it. But yeah, it's a no-brainer to me. Rafael Marchand is my backup until proven otherwise. All right, let's get to the final part of our show, my favorite part of every night. All right. Yeah, that's right. It is time for MattyB's card review. Now let's check what Dave has to say first. Dave says Marchand for sure, your backup catcher. He didn't play he didn't play enough last season, in my opinion. The kid can play if you give him a chance. Yeah, I agree. But you know what? I think that he didn't play enough. That was a good thing, right? You didn't need him to play a lot. But maybe you do try to find him more opportunities in 2026. Because honestly, as a backup catcher, it's a pretty hazardous, it's a sucky job to have because you're never going to be used as a pinch hitter unless you're pinch hitting for the catcher, right? Because they're never going to empty the bench for hey, I need to get the backup catcher. He's never going to get that opportunity. So he has to try to get opportunities where he can. And being that he's at the part of his career that he's in, he's the perfect candidate for that job because let's face it, he's been a lifelong Philly. Part of the system from the very beginning. And he just has a better upside defensively in my opinion. And now that we're talking about dealing with a lot of unknowns in that pitching staff, a lot of new pitchers in general joining the rotation or joining the staff, not just the rotation, but joining the staff next year, you probably need a strong, somebody strong behind that dish to deal with all those people. And yeah, I mean, I don't think Garrett Stubbs is that guy. I never understood why he was here. Again, nobody can wear a beer case hat quite like he can. And I'll give Garrett Stubbs that as long as I live. But I never quite understood why the attraction for Garrett Stubbs. Just never really got it. Never got it at all. So, yeah, Rafael Marchand. And Dave makes an interesting point. Do they owe it to Stubbs or Marchand to move him into the lineup more? Real Muto can play first base. JT does have abilities to play first base, and he's done it before. So do they explore that option maybe with perhaps giving multiple people days off at the same time? I don't know. But you're right. I think they definitely have to find ways to kind of move Marchand into the lineup more in 2026. Phillies have basically the same team again. Yeah, Barbara, that's unfortunately not a newsflash. But as Rob Thompson said, no, we've changed 25% of our roster over. Now, of course, that's ridiculous to say that. 25% does not constitute a change, really, of anything. But I'm taking a different stance on the Phillies this year, Barbara. I don't know if you haven't been around, so I'm not going to blame you for not knowing this. But so heading into the offseason, I wanted the Phillies to go young. I did. And I wanted them to go young internally. I wanted some external free agents. I wanted Keith Alonso. I wanted Pete Alonso. Who the hell's Keith Alonso? Was Keith Alonso the basketball player? I wanted Pete Alonso. I wanted Kelly Jansen from the Angels. And I wanted Luis Ariz from the Padres. I wanted those free agents. But everybody else, I wanted to turn over to the young guys. I wanted Otto Kemp and Aiden Miller to platoon at third. I wanted Crawford in center. I want Raconis Jr. in right. I wanted obviously Painter in the rotation, right? I wanted to turn over the team essentially to the young players. They didn't provide me or get me Alonso or Jansen or Ariz, but they did provide the avenue for the young players. So they did give me that. And I'm telling you, Barbara, even though I agree with you, on paper on February 28th, or 17th, 2017th. They look like the same team. But I am going to sit here and tell you that before it's done, before we get to October, this will not be the same team. There will be significant contributions from significant players that we don't know about right now. Crawford, Painter, Rakonis, Kemp, and yes, maybe even Aiden Miller and Painter. I really think that in a best case scenario, that's what I'm hoping. So I am not taking the usual MattyB gloom and doom look at this. Do I think they're a World Series contending team today? No, I do not think they are today. Do I think they are a playoff team today? Yes, but that's not what it's about. It's about being a World Series contender. But I'm intrigued and I'm interested in finally turning over, at least somewhat at this point, the team to the young players. I've said this from the outset. I don't want any more mashers. I don't want any more 45 home run hitters. I don't want any spray and pray kind of. I want spray and pray guys. I don't want home run or nothing type guys. I want guys who make contact with the baseball and drive runners around and move people. That's what I want, right? And I think we're starting to get into that direction now. What the extent of that is with these players, I don't know. And is it going to be a bust? I don't know. But this was, in my opinion, heading into the offseason, the most feasible way for the Phillies to go based on the contract situations of some of the players that were already here. I was never in on the Kyle Tuckers. I was never in on Bellinger. I was never in on Bichette either. I was never in on any of that. That was not my focus. My focus was to provide young players, contact hitting players, players that can create havoc on the base pads, players that can goddamn lay down a sack bunt or actually execute a sacrifice fly. That's what I wanted. And they actually have provided me that, or at least on paper. So I'm taking a very wait and see approach on the 2026 Phillies. But I agree. I see what you see. And I'm the last person to sit here and tell you that you're wrong, because on February 17th, it certainly does look like the same team. And that team is just not good enough. But as we've been, as those of us that follow baseball know, what your team looks like in February is not necessarily what it's going to look like in October. Now, the Phillies, that hasn't been the case. It has been the same thing, right? The same team they started out with was basically the same team they ended up with. Don't think this year's going to be the same way. I think they're going to change that. And they are starting that with the incorporation of some of these young players. So that's where I am kind of hedging myself. Now, if it doesn't work, get rid of everybody. Everybody's got to go. We got to burn this thing down and start over, because we're not going to, we don't have that kind of time. We got to pivot hard. But with the contra, with the CBA and all that, I don't know, man. I got a feeling. I'm not talking World Series. I got a feeling of a different DNA of this team. That's what I want. A different feel, a different way about them, a different vibe. Castellanos is gone, which Harper was, but he's not. Castellanos is gone. We got young players coming. It's a different vibe. And I don't, you might think it's a different negative vibe or a different type of vibe, a vibe that's making you feel unsure, but that's different than what they've been. It's been the same old, same old. There is a different vibe about this team. Now, what that is, if it's a positive vibe or not a positive vibe, is unknown, but it's a different vibe. And that's okay for me at this point. I'll take that right now, and we'll go forward with that. So I kind of disagree this year. Stubbs isn't yet. I agree there. Schwarber can't play the field. Harper can't play the outfield. It's clogging up the lineup. That's why I wanted Schwarber gone, Alonso at first, Harper as DH. Made more sense to me. You're saving Real Muto's knees if you put him at first and you put Harper in the DH role. It doesn't hurt the team. I agree. And I know we talked about it. The team has talked about it in years past. I don't know how much more they're actually exploring that. I don't know if Realmuto is going to take any time at first down in spring, but it does make a lot of sense, man. It makes a lot of sense with that. So I'm not going to be looking at Marsh out there all year again. Woo-hoo. So I'm not going to be looking out there. Well, yeah, you are. He's going to be playing left. Him and Kemp are going to platoon and left. Christ, I forgot all about Brandon Marsh. God damn. That's right. He's still here. Damn. Thanks, Barbara. Forgot all about Brandon Marsh. All right. The way the team looks like right now is not necessarily the way they're going to look like in October. Let's get to the card review tonight. We've been kind of glazing over the 2026 Topps Series 1 cards over the last few nights, but we're going to get away from them tonight. For one night, we're going to go way back in time, back to the Wax Pack era, 1989 Topps. We're going to look at a card from a Hall of Famer. Hall of Famer now, not in '89, but he's a Hall of Famer now. Part of a generational movement there in the great state of Minnesota. One of the best outfielders, hitters in a small package ever to play the game. Obviously heavily responsible for multiple World Series championships by the Minnesota Twins in 1987 and 1991. And again, as I mentioned, a Hall of Famer in every sense of the word, Mr. Kirby Puckett. And this is his 1989 Topps All-Star card. Pulled, of course, from the 1988 stat line. It is card 403 in the set of 89 Topps. And it is a base card, of course. Most of these cards in the Wax Pack era were all base cards. There wasn't the pretty parallels, refractors, until a little bit later on when these things went digitalized. Now, this is a card that goes along with the lines of the players, sort of my youth. You know, those players that I guess if you would equate them to today, it's the Shohei Ohtanis, the Aaron Judges, the Mike Trouts, I guess Kyle Tucker. These are the kind of cards that, regardless of what year these players are in their career, Bryce Harper would fit in this category. No matter what year, rookie year or whatever, you always, when you run across players' cards of this magnitude, regardless of what year it's from, you stash it away, you put it under plastic, you do what you got to do to protect it because you never know. And of course, in Kirby Puckett's case, he became an all-star, or he became a Hall of Famer and all that. So this card has value. Now, what that value is, of course, to the eye of the beholder, but through some analytical research, a ungraded card of this type goes for an average of about $1.50, a PSA 7 for about $3, a PSA 8 about $3.20, a PSA 9 about $13.90 as a significant jump between 8 and 9 in sales. PSA 9.5, another significant jump from $13 to $30, and a PSA 10 from $30 to about $35. So obviously it gets a little bit more significant as you get higher up in the mint value or grading of mint or better when it comes to this card, as it should for a card like this. But no bells, no whistles, a very standardized base card of the 89 Topps in their all-star inserts that year. And Kirby Puckett, a great player in his own right. You always put these. I pulled this card not long ago. I got it out of a grab bag about maybe a month ago. So it'll get put away and get sat on, right, and try to be sold at some point. So the 89 set in itself was no frills. not really interesting about the 89 set. We're getting kind of to the end of the Wax Packs era. This was one of the final sets that Topps considered Wax Pack, and then right before they went digital. Nothing really fancy about this card, pretty right to the point. But again, one of the greatest players of all time, and a kid or a guy that I watched growing up, and that's Kirby Puckett. And here it is in its actual form right here. And you flip over, and here's the back, and there you have it. The 1989 Topps All-Stars Kirby Puckett card. Tonight's MattyB's card review, card of the night. Kirby Puckett, cool, absolutely. Kirby Puckett's a very cool card. MattyB, honest question: do you think they panicked on signing Realmuto real quick? No, of course they didn't. Well, let me rephrase that. they didn't sign him real quick. Don't forget, they let him sit till about what, late January? No, they didn't. They panicked. They panicked after they missed on Bichette, absolutely, and they knew they had to sign Real Muto. It's funny because I heard him talk today, JT, about that. He said that there was always interest to come back, and there was always interest from the Phillies to bring him back, but then there was a 6-week time frame where there was no conversation at all. And the negotiations had stalled. Obviously, I think the Phillies were exploring better options from the very beginning, which we can debate that as well, because who the hell was going to be the starting catcher? But no, I think JT might have been at one point a focal point of their all. I don't know if he was ever a focal point. He was in their plans at one point, but maybe when they couldn't get a deal done, which I heard was never about the years, which is funny because we were always about, there's no way they give him 3 years. It was never about the years. The years were there. It was the money that was involved. The Phillies were always offering 3 years. That's amazing. But anyway, the Phillies pivoted to Bo Bichette and left JT in the dust. They weren't even going to, they were done. If Bo Bichette would have signed, JT's somewhere else. And he said that. He said there was a 24-hour period where it looked like he wasn't coming back. And they were panicking about, oh no, now what are we going to do? We got to uproot the family and do all this other stuff. But then when Bichette did what he did, boom, they pivoted right to JT. So that was a panic move because they had a safe face. We missed out on the shortstop, third baseman. Now we got to bring back the catcher. We got to. So it's a very interesting question about panicking. In the beginning, no. At the end, yes. If that makes sense. That's how I feel about the JT thing. I met Curry Pluckett at a car show many years. Did you get anything? Sign anything? That'd be awesome to meet him. I like that. That's awesome. Good stuff, Joe. All right, that's going to take me to the end of a 2-hour show. Good God. All right, we talked some good stuff tonight. Bryce Harper to the A's. That is my trade proposal right now. It makes sense for all three parties involved. And I want DeVeers and I want Jamie Arnold as two of the first two pieces of that return puzzle from the A's. USA Hockey gold medal game allegedly is on at 8 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, which I still don't believe. They can't do that. They cannot do that. Good Lord. How can you do that? The game of the century? 8 a.m.? Thank you. Thank you. I was thinking about that kid from Baltimore they were going after. They didn't sign JT. Talking about Adley Rauschman, they were never seriously in consideration for him. If that's what you're talking about, there was no way in hell the Orioles were giving up on Rauschman. There's no way. That was a pipe dream. Oh my God, you must have started. Yes, at 9. Every night, Barbara, we go on at 9. That is our show time. 9 o'clock Eastern time. Please program that in your phone. Turn your notification bell on, Barbara, please. But yeah, Bryce Harper to the A's. USA Hockey at 8 o'clock in the morning. Help me. Michael Papernick thinks the Phillies pitching is what's going to doom them. I do not. I think it's the hitting. Well, not doom them, but I think that's the issue. That's the number one priority. That's been the priority. That's been the issue. And until proven otherwise, it remains that way to me. Didn't really talk Eagles much, except for potentially releasing Keely Ringo and Jacorian Bennett. Oh, no. Stop the world. I want to get off. Review. And I'm back. Am I here? The roof blew off the Spectrum, forcing the Flyers to play the remainder of their home games at neutral sites back in 1968. So great show. Thank you, everybody, for being part of it tonight. I'll be back again tomorrow night as we continue our romp through the week. We are one day closer to games. Maybe I'll start talking D1 baseball tomorrow. We'll go over some Division I college baseball. Let's do a live streaming of a baseball game tomorrow night. Fresno State versus Alcorn State. That's what we're going to live stream that game. We'll do play-by-play for that one. That'll be fun. That's what I'm at right now. That's the level I'm at. But we'll talk again tomorrow. You guys have a great rest of your night. I am out of here.